I am your homegirl Ronnika, and welcome to another episode of the Please Do Tell podcast for this special series called What's Your Why? So a lot of people have asked me, like, why do you do some of the things that you do? Why are you so in love with storytelling? Why are you so in love with obituaries and archives? Well, they've basically shaped me into the person that I am today. So for this whole series, I brought quite a few friends along to talk about what's their why. So we're going to hear from a special person today about what's his why. So, Luis.
Yes.
I want you to tell the people who you are, because you're going along on this journey with us as well. So if you could just introduce yourself a little bit and tell us who you are.
All right. Well, my name is Luis Perez. I am from Ben Harbor. Well, I live here, so I consider myself being from Ben Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I wanted to be here is to share my story as far as more than anything, as far as for me, a DACA recipient. A lot of people don't know what that is, so I kind of wanted to share that because from my experience, once people get to know that, they're like, wow, they had no idea what that even is.
Yeah.
So not that I want people to feel empathy or sympathy about it, but it's just, it's just like anything other. I was like trying anything else that, you have a certain mind that you don't want to till you try it, or it can be judging someone, and until you get to know them a little better, then, you have a different perspective. So that's why I'm here.
Oh, I can't wait to hear more about it. So we do try to start this whole conversation with a little segment called At the Playground. And the reason why we do this is because I joke about 4th through 6th grade, I didn't have recess at school. We did mental math. So I feel like on the playground is when you make a lot of your friends and when you share a lot of those stories. So I say that I missed out on about 3 years of story time. So that's why I ask a lot of my friends, like, hey, share stories of you when you were younger, or what shaped you into the person that you are today, especially a story from like your childhood or even adolescent or right before you became an adult. So if you can think of a story like that, what would that be? And have you always lived in Ben Harbor? So I don't know if we should start there, but you take it away.
All right. Well, it's like so many things. Well, it could have been so many things that I could go back as far as childhood that could have changed me, or there's part of the reason who I am. But I can't help that the event that changed my life was when I lost my dad. But this was 11 years ago, and I'm 38, so it wasn't really in my childhood. But that, for some reason, that's the one that really kind of made a different perspective, like kind of as far as who I was when it happened to who I am right now. So that, to me, I mean, I know you said the playground thing, but that's the one event that really changed as far as a lot of things. You got certain plans, and this one just took, because that was an accident. So that's why that one really made it so hard, and taking it, and so that's how. And as far as Ben Harbor, we moved to Ben Harbor, if I remember right, in '99.
Okay.
Since '99, so yeah.
Okay.
And I call it my home. It's I try to represent it in a way how I can. I'm not embarrassed to say, because some people are for some reason, but yeah, I'm from Ben Harbor. Even though I was born in Mexico, I most of the time I say I'm from Ben Harbor, Michigan.
Yeah. So I do need to tell you this, because maybe I do need to change a little bit about At the Playground, because another one of the segments that we've done before is called Grief Talk Tuesday. And I actually started that because I lost my dad 8 years ago. So, yeah, but no, if that's the story that you want to tell, by all means, please tell that story, because I'm sure it'll help someone.
As far as how I lost my dad, or how it changed me?
How it changed you.
Well,
and you can also talk about how how you lost him, and then how it changed you.
Well, not really that I don't want to give details, but it will be kind of make it a little longer. But I was working, and I got the notice, got a call saying, you need to, can you hurry up? And I'm in Niles. This happened in Ben Harbor on right close to the livery. Forget on that street.
Okay.
Not on, but I forget. But it's close to one of those buildings that my dad was working, taking it down. But I was working the night. I was getting calls like, "Hey, your dad had an accident. Can you please hurry? He's having trouble breathing." So we believe that if you by his side, he might, you might ease it up or whatever. And obviously, I didn't have time to ask her what happened. I'm that type of person. I'm not like, no, you kidding me? Cause I don't play with nobody about things like that. So, and I was a leader at this place. I'm hurrying up to close the place down. I couldn't just, for some reason, I couldn't just leave. So I rush. I get to the spot. My dad's not there. And then all of a sudden, this guy in a suit, he's like, "Can I talk to you for a second?" And then he walked with me, and then he's like, "Hey, sorry to tell you, but you were informed your dad had an accident, and on his way to the ambulance, on his way to the hospital, and the ambulance, so he died." He probably said it in a different way, but that's kind of how I recollect.
Yeah.
So the same again, like I watch so many movies about drama and this and that, and people. I'm not saying they overreact, but I feel like I'm not that type of person. I'm just quiet. I'm like, wow, I believed them, but I just wasn't sure, like, what the heck. And then there's it's like just this feeling, I don't even know how to describe it, like kind of like in a way like your first test, your first speech, your first fight, my legs kind of feel weak. They felt like that, but I was obviously walking, and then I turn around and I wanted to cry, and I did cry for a little bit, but then for some reason, it was a moment that just happened. I think a week before that, prior to that accident, and my dad had told me they were about to split. See, that's the thing. My parents were about to split, and then I was crying.
Yeah.
And then, so my dad comes to me. He's like, "Hey, be strong, because I don't want your mom to see you crying." And then, so then for some reason, I almost felt the same way. Like my dad was right next to me, like, "Hey, you gotta be strong for your mom. Don't cry." So, tears stopped. One thing we went to, it was so hard to tell my mom. My mom went crazy. She couldn't believe it. I know it's a weird way to say it, but like picturing like a kid throwing a tantrum, when you don't buy him something or whatever. My mom was kind of acting like that. I was holding her, trying to calm her down, and so for a while too. So after that, kind of speeding things up, I couldn't even go, and I didn't even have I don't know if I should say the courage. For some reason, I felt like that. I didn't have the courage to go identify my dad, because I was told that someone had to go.
Yeah.
So I talked to one of my best friends if he can go and do it. And without hesitation, he said yes. So he did that. He comes to the house. He can't hold it. I've never seen him cry before. He starts crying, hugging me, and I'm holding my tears again, because my mom's like close to me. I go to the restroom. I kind of want to, but then again, I don't. So again, speeding things up. Well, we had a lot of support, which is I never thought that would have been the case, but the support was so amazing. Like as far as people showing up, and it does. I guess it takes for somebody to keep answering the same question, because someone comes and they keep asking, "So, well, what happened?"
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
Yeah.
I just saw him, and then it's like, I guess I was the right person, because I think my sister couldn't take it that way. She was kind of frustrated answering, and I kept saying the same thing, same thing. But so I'm reviving what a little bit that I know what happened. But it helped a lot having the people show up, showing support, showing love, and then they were showing up for weeks, which that's another thing that. For a whole year, I wouldn't cry, and that's another thing that I didn't know, but it came to a point where I got to I went to this concert about this group that we got to see. That was the last group I got to see with my dad, and there's a certain song that he always liked, and I even remember it whenever I'm far away dancing with another girl, and I see my dad dancing with my mom over there, and the song's about to start. And I see my dad's reaction, and I was like, "That's my dad." So when this song, they played it, I couldn't hold it. The whole song, I'm bawling.
Yeah.
I'm bawling. But when the song was over, it was just like the weight of it. I had no idea that's what it was going to take, but it was meant to be. It's just, I feel so much like, like I say, I hear people describe those things about the weight and this, and like, what are they talking about? But when that happened to me, I was just, it's like kind of my life changed just a little bit better. I can't really complain. I'm not complaining, but it did change a lot. So that was a year after. But going back as far as how much it changed is just, it's so many things I look far as like, so many things he taught me and so many things that I missed out that I could have learned more about my dad.
Same.
You know, yeah, dealing with about my mom being, you know, like I guess alone. I couldn't see my dad. Also, I'm kind of going back and forth. I couldn't see him. How you say when we had the you know, open caskets, the funeral. I couldn't see him. I didn't. I was like, if I see my dad, I didn't want to have a memory of him being. See, that's the thing I don't even want to say, like death. I wanted to remind because I have memories of my grandpa or certain people when I see him like that, and I never being able to get that out of my head. I don't want that. I just want to have memories of my dad being alive and that. So I was the only one that couldn't do that. But also it speeded up as far as being the man of the house in a way, being with my mom and, you know, kind of taking care of. It sounds weird because we kept taking care of each other, but, you know, that's how people on the outside kind of see it, and I see why, in a way. But like I said, that had to speed up as far as that taking how would I say decisions that, you know, I'm not saying usually a person my age doesn't take, but in a way it wasn't expected, so I had to take decisions on things that I wasn't sure. And my mom she was always like, hey, you're the man, so you know it's on you, so I'll go what you say. I mean, and as far as changing too, it's not that I haven't been over it, but it comes to the date as far as me losing him, it doesn't really bother me. His birthday is the one that bothers me to this day.
Yeah,
you know, that's one. It's like a hard pillow to swallow, how they say, because especially if it's like a day where I'm at work. Oh my God! I mean, you know, there's times where I'm not embarrassed that they see me crying, but there's times where like I'm working and then I'm like, God, I can't hold it, and I'm doing that, and then I smile over the good times, you know, my own memories, and then then I became my dad at 30, so my dad didn't get to see on my side, and then so one beautiful thing too about as far as losing my dad is like not as far as losing, but having a dad and not having it, but I always knew he loved me, but when I became my dad, I was like, holy, you know, like I had no idea he loved me this much. So that's kind of like it's a beautiful thing, but at the same time it's like a little sadness in her because I wish my dad could see him.
Yeah.
But I also have this thing where, like, you know, I mean, it's not because of what you learn in a certain church or the Bible. There's something in it that there's got to be I don't know, a spirit, like how they say. I don't even know how to say it, but I know the presence is somewhere where he's, you know, kind of watching over things like that. And but I mean to this date it's a thing that's always in my back of my mind as far as trying to, like, what will my dad do in this situation? Or like or this is what my dad would do, so I shouldn't do that. And, you know, and obviously like kind of choosing, hoping to pick the most of the good things from my dad, you know, and then I pass them on to my daughter and to my son.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could go and give hundreds of different details, but that's the event that kind of changed me a lot and has shaped me who the person that I am, you know, right now.
So is the passing of your father, is that attached to your why at all? I just curious.
As my why, yes, because I think as a DACA recipient, see, my parents, as we lived in California before.
Okay.
We migrated to California. Things wasn't working out for my parents, from what I recall. I mean, to me, being a kid, to me, it was awesome, you know.
Yeah.
But things weren't working out for them, so they did the decision to my mom and my sister and me go back to Mexico. So we're back. Then later on, I don't forget, but my dad then joined back. You know, he went back to Mexico, joined the family. And we were out there for, I forget how many years again, but I had already learned a little bit of English from living in California. I always like to think that I'm a bit of not in a arrogant way. I just can't help. I'd like to think I pick up on things, so like smart. So school to me has always been kind of easy. I don't know. It's just easy. Just to me, it's always been like just pay attention. Sometimes I don't even have to study. I just remember what the teacher said, and then a test, I'll pass it. But anyways, so in Mexico, I was doing good in school, this and that. and that's another thing. My parents never really pushed me. It was just on my own.
Yeah.
They kind of was like, always gotta help your sister, help your sister. But we were over there. I have a uncle that lives. He passed away now, but he's living in Michigan. He's the one that goes and visit. He visits us. He tells us how much work there's in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
He's like, there's so much different in California. That's what his story was.
Yeah.
So then from there, it brought the idea of my parents kind of coming over here. And at that moment, too, I had no idea where Michigan was. That's another thing. I opened up you couldn't Google it up.
Yeah.
I opened up the big atlas that we had at home, and I'm like, Michigan. So the first thing that caught my mind, I was like, Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was like, like a Chicago Bulls. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I'm gonna get to see the Chicago Bulls. So I was just for that, I was excited about it. So my parents they sold the car, sold a little piece of land that we're starting to build a house, which is looking at that, like I said, I'm still kind of a kid. I don't know how hard things are in a way, but it's hard.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from my parents to have the little bit that they had over there. So they got rid of all that, so we can migrate now to Michigan, and in a legal way. So it's dangerous, and it's expensive. You are risking your life, and at the same time, you're also risking all your money, because if you don't make it, it's not like you're gonna get a refund. So that's how that happened, and so I wouldn't say really things went our way, but we made it to the United States. We were gonna stay for some time. We almost stayed in Houston. We didn't. We ended up making it to Michigan, and so then for a long time, you get to live kind of, as they say, in the shadows, because you're illegal. So you're it's not like that, just like work kind of sounds bad, but obviously we're not being bad. We're just trying to make a living, trying to make a life out here. So as far as like going to the Y, is like you try so hard hoping for a reform, and it doesn't happen, and they always use it, either the left or the right always kind of uses that as like, well, this time we are gonna do something, and it doesn't happen. I was looking forward to so I can join the Marines back in the day, and I couldn't join either because of my situation, this and that. So later on, also every time there's like a voting and it wouldn't pass, it was called a Dream Act for a while, because it was a time where my teacher was, well, what do you want to do for as a career? And I couldn't even think about it, because in my mind is like, what's the point? I won't be able to get a job, because they're gonna they gotta ask for the documents and all that, and I don't have them. So they had the pedigree in a way because of the being an honor student and all this, but I was discouraged and not really putting my effort in having a career, because of I couldn't help to have that on the back of my mind. There was a point in a way. Yeah. I should have, but I couldn't help to have that. So forward in time, Obama came. I wouldn't say Obama, but the team or whatever came out. Since Dream Act couldn't be passed for so many years, every time they would try to pass it, it wouldn't go with Bush, and then it didn't happen with Obama either. So Obama came with DACA, which is DACA, and it stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. So it's for kids like my situation that were brought in before they were adults to the United States illegally. Then, as far as you can prove that you're in school, you haven't done felonies, breaking the law, try to be a law-abiding person, and you have proof of how long you've been here. Then there's a process. Then you have to do the biometrics, this and that, pay a fee, and then you get a work permit, which is every 2 years you have to renew it and pay the fee and go through the whole thing again. And that changed not only me a lot, because I'm able to. Then after that, I was able to have a better job. So provide a better job for me, and also in a way it's helping the economy, because the more you make and the more you spend. So like you said about the why about my dad, so it's like all the sacrifices that my parents have done, as far as like I said, just selling everything, and not necessarily I would think it just happens to people that just migrate to another country. It could be people here that just want a different fresh start in a different state. You have to sell whatever you have, or leave your friends behind, And I'm not gonna complain about friends. I don't know. I've been to so many schools that I never really. Benton Harbor is the one that I've done the longest as far as schools.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, I've been in so many schools that it's like I don't remember the names of people that if I see them, maybe I remember.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of the why. As far as my parents done so much, and I'm doing my best not to let them down, and also put an example, because then now my kids are from here, so it's like the heritage is gonna be there, the blood, but they're like a different generation too, because they're born here. They're gonna obviously gonna struggle, but their struggle is gonna be different from the one that I came and then my parents came.
Yeah. I had no idea. No idea. And I think that's what's so important, especially about this series, is because you hear more about someone's stories, like even just, I mean, because you literally broke it down by generation. Like, this is what my parents went through in order for us to be here. This is what I'm doing in order for my children to have a better life than I did. So, I mean, that is your why right there. But it's when you grow up with someone, which it was like when you walked in, I said, okay, yeah, he does look familiar, but we actually went to high school together.
Yes.
And you don't know what someone went through or was going through at that time, especially to shape the person that they are today. So what would you say is like your why right now? Like, what are you doing right now, or what does your future look like? Or what do you want your future to look like?
And that's the thing. Well, for everybody it's uncertain, but then that's another thing. There's like another level of uncertainty for me, because I might lose my DACA, at any time. And it's like you gotta watch your steps even more careful, because you don't want to really break the law, because then you lose it, and then what are you gonna do then? Yeah. And then it could be a small thing, it can be a big thing, and who doesn't have make mistakes, in a way. Yeah. So that's the thing, and that's what it's just as much as I just want to live life and not thinking about it, you can't help to live in that, being also like, it's like the shadow. It's always gonna be there, the uncertainty about that, as far as having that and losing it. And then, like, what are my kids gonna do? Because there's sometimes I don't really know, because I haven't really gone to like an immigration court. But I heard so many stories where like it goes so easy, and then sometimes like they don't care. They're usually looking at this and they're like, all right, who's next? And they might not look and see what, not necessarily what I'm doing for for my kids, but it's like they can just say, no, you gotta leave, and then what about my kids? Like, what's not a problem, which I understand in a way. But it's like, in a human level, it's like, man, can you give me a break?
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not asking you. I'm working. I'm doing this, but it's so the uncertainty is it's kind of beyond crazy sometimes, And then I'm a member of this page in Facebook, and I seen so many people, not so many, but certain posts that I see, as far as you having the anxiety. Am I saying it right?
Society.
No, anxious anxiety.
Oh, okay, yeah, anxiety. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't never kind of express it that way, but when I read the post, it's like, I can relate to that. But it's like, I do my best not to have it, because you might lose it, and I guess I can see why some people might lose it, because they get so desperate and like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I would think maybe I'm wrong, because I almost like barely made the age gap, the whatever they have for people that can be on the program that I'm at. Okay. So like the younger ones like are kind of like us. We're pushing them like, no, don't get out of school like we did.
Yeah,
you keep pushing, stay, because there might be something later on. We've been waiting for a long time, but like me, like I see like a lot of people as far as like my age group, we gave up on it as far as the school. We might have a really decent or good jobs or very good jobs, but I think most of us kind of gave up, at least as far as the education. That's which is also we hoping that, like I said, the other DACA recipients that are younger take notice, and for us to keep pushing as far as doing like, no, you don't do that.
It's interesting that you said that, because I'm thinking about a friend and her partner. I think he's from Haiti, and he has younger siblings, but he was saying that I came here to work, whereas for them, they came here to go to school. So he's really like pushing them to like, listen, at least stay here and finish school. Like, don't give up. Trying to encourage him as best as he can. Because he said he has those thoughts sometimes, like, it could be today, it could be tomorrow. They can send me back.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess being from here, being a citizen of the United States, you don't even really think about that. Like, man, the uncertainty of it by day that it could change.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that look like, I guess, when it comes to planning or even moving forward, or even when you're thinking about, for him, he said, do I want to have children now? Do I want to have a family? Because they could stay here, but I couldn't. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so many. Going kind of back of, you lost your dad and I lost mine. It's some people have this big decision of, do you bury it here or do you what? Because let's say my dad wasn't buried, but let's say we would have chose that, and then let's say I have to leave the country. Then how am I gonna pay respects or come and try to visit his tombstone or whatever, come to the spot? And it's that's another thing as far as being someone with like the situation that I'm in as far as DACA recipient.
Yeah.
And at times I think about it, like, I don't regret having kids, but I was like, if I didn't have them, like, oh, you know what, I'm just gonna leave and try to make a career over there. But it's like, now that's another thing. It changes so much, and I was like, now I got little ones looking after me, and I would say they'll make it, but that's the thing about it. I don't want to add more to the struggle that everybody has. I don't want to add that to them, but it's just like I said, I try to live my life, and I don't bring it up as far as that. Like my daughter sometimes makes questions that I do my best in answering what I can, but she doesn't really know that situation. She's 8 years old. She's very smart and all that, and I would think she might. I don't want to worry her, because I think now she probably would understand it a little bit more. But it's like, I don't want to kind of scare her. That it's like my dad. Not that I want to get really political, but there was a time where when I was with her mom, she already had a kid, daughter, which my daughter Anai, and I forgot how young she was. But this is a crazy, because it never really bothered me. I cannot understand. But when the Trump thing, started happening, and then about going back to where all that stuff.
Yeah.
I picked her up from school, and it hit me. I kind of wanted to, kind of give me like a little, but it's like, what?
Yeah.
She was crying, and I was like, why are you crying? So this is the thing. She was born in Indiana, and her mother was born in California. She was sad because she thought that if Trump wins, her mom's going to be sent to California, and she's going to stay in Indiana. You know what I mean? It's like a kid, and it's like, when I was like, and it's like, I know it's like, I mean, it's crazy how young they are, and then certain things like that can impact them. That's why I don't want to bring that up right now to my daughter, as far as telling her exactly what, who your dad is, as far as the DACA thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to worry her like that. She should just worry about being good in school, being a polite person, learning her manners, being a kid. She'll learn as she goes.
Yeah. So, if you could be granted 3 wishes, what would you want them to be?
3 wishes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Number 1 would be no more cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 would be it's just like, I don't like to be selfish, but for my kids to always be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess number 3 would be that I'll always remain around good people.
Mm. That's not selfish. Those are your 3 wishes. Yeah. So, as we're about to wrap things up, is there any and my friends laugh because when I say final thoughts, it makes them think about Jerry Springer, but but I'm like, don't think of it like that. What would be some of your final thoughts as we conclude this conversation? Like, what are some things that when people listen or watch this episode that they can take away from hearing from you?
Mm, uh, just I want to say not just, but just be a be polite, be a good person. You know, not it doesn't hurt anything. You know, it's like education costs, this costs that. It's zero cost to be a polite and good person.
Yes.
It doesn't cost anything.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has their own war, their own struggle, and in their own way. You know, just keep pushing. It'll pay. And for a lot of people, you know, that as far as our city, Benton Harbor, I've seen so many changes. So you know, that's another thing. You know, just keep pushing. Yeah.
Ooh, man, I've learned so much, so much, and so many things I had no idea about. But it's been really good, especially because I'm like, you're my classmate. So, but just to spend this time with you to hear more about your story. And of course, anytime you want to come back or just let me know. But we're going to wrap up this episode of the Please Do Tell podcast, which is What's Your Why with your homegirl Ronnika. And we want to thank Mr. Luis for being with us today. So we will see you next time.